We have one of the big winners at UFC 247 back of the show, Mario Bautista, who defeated Miles Johns via second round TKO on Saturday night, set up the finish with a beautiful flying knee, and picked up a huge win in the loaded UFC bantamweight division. Mario, how are you, man?
I'm feeling good. I'm, healthy and everything, so I feel good right now.
Congratulations on the win. You had thrown that flying knee a few times early in that fight, and you landed in the second round just perfectly. Was that something you and your team saw was there in preparation for the fight, and it would just sort of be a matter of time before it paid off for you?
Yeah, it was just a couple of different things, as far as the opening, just right down the center, he kind of stays, doesn't really move his head off a line. So there's a few things that we were working on, and the flying knee was one of them. So, that's the one that landed at that time.
We spoke before the fight, and you were like you are now. You're very calm and relaxed about everything, and you had felt that the majority of people were picking against you in this fight. And when I spoke to Miles about a week or so later, he said that he had watched that interview, and he was fired up hearing you talk about potentially your gas tank being better than his, you scoring his last fight for Cole Smith, and he felt like that conversation in particular gave him an extra chip on his shoulder for sure. Like, did all the noise, the Mario will be a stepping stone for the undefeated guy talk, did you use that as a chip on your shoulder?
No, not really. I mean, I don't let those kind of things get to me, and I don't listen to interviews. I didn't listen to any of his interviews, so and I think the fact that he listened to mine and he heard those things, I think he got, a little emotional. It kind of showed at the weigh-ins, the things he said to me. And I was only speaking the truth, things that I seen. So, and maybe that was his downfall, during this fight.
What did he say to you at weigh-ins?
At weigh-ins, at the meet before media, he said, first thing he said, "You look drained." And, I told him I was fine. I feel good. It's not my first time cutting weight. You know what I mean? So for him to say that, it kind of seemed out of character for him. So I knew something was up, like I was either in his head or he was trying to intimidate me. So I knew something was going on in his mind.
I was speaking to a member of the media who was on site for Fight Week, and he told me that during media day, he couldn't really remember seeing anybody really going up to you for interviews at all. Is that true?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think there's only 2 people that came up to me. They're, pretty long interviews, but only 2 people. We were sitting there, I was sipping on some water, just waiting to get interviewed, wanting to go relax. Yeah, I didn't really stand out at that time.
Is that kind of frustrating for you? You're trying to get your name out there. But I mean, at the same time, you still get to sort of relax and hydrate a little bit. You had a couple of good conversations, but is that a little frustrating for you sitting there throughout the media day process and only doing a couple of interviews?
No, not really. I mean, at the time, you kind of don't want to do interviews because you're cutting weight and everything. But, I've done my interviews before the fights. I got guys like you, that interview me. So, and I always know after the fight, I'm going to do quite a bit of interviews then. So it doesn't really bother me or anything.
Do you feel like things are going to change a little bit for you heading into your next fight during your next media day for Fight Week?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. After these 2 wins that I had and just the way they went, I'm pretty sure I'll get a little bit more interviews, a little bit more attention this time. So I'll be ready for it.
So the first round was a really fun round. It's what most people sort of expected out of this fight. I actually put out a poll on Twitter. I was like, what's the under the radar fight that you're looking forward to the most? And it was almost unanimous that it was this fight between you and Miles. And I think most people had Miles winning the first round, but you were moving around a lot. You were giving him different looks, and Miles was scoring in his way. He seemed to have been looking for that big shot. He did land some strikes a couple of times in that round, but what did you learn about Miles in that first round, and how comfortable and confident were you after that first 5 minutes?
I was pretty comfortable, and after everything was said and everything at the weigh-ins and his little thing that he tried to pull, I still respected Miles. He's a great fighter, and I could see in there that he's pretty powerful. I took one shot, kind of knocked me off balance, and I knew, I really had to take my time with him. I couldn't, get into a brawl or force anything like I did in my last fight with Jinsu. So, I was just trying to be smart and calculated in there and try to pick my shots and yeah.
Were you making a sort of an extra effort to make sure you didn't get into that phone booth kind of a fight? Because I know that wasn't your plan heading into your last fight, and that's just kind of how it played out. You just kind of got in that mode, and that's how the fight played out. Were you making sure that that didn't happen? Were you taking sort of extra steps mentally to make sure that you were staying patient and picking your shots accordingly?
Yeah, definitely before the fight, like visualizing the fight and everything. I tried not to picture myself getting in too much of a brawl. So definitely, and definitely, with his power and everything, I really respected that. So I didn't really want to get into a brawl. So he definitely helped with that.
Walk us through the flying knee that led to the finish of the fight, because I'll take a pretty educated guess that I'm probably not ever going to land a flying knee in my life at this point. What did it feel like when it landed, and did you know right away that it was the beginning of the end?
No, I didn't. It didn't feel like it landed. It almost felt like I really didn't hit anything. I felt like I hit something pretty soft. Um, and then once I kind of landed on my feet and I seen that he went down, I just jumped on top of him, and with someone with miles, you got to put him away quick, because if he gets back up, it might bring the dog back out of him, and he might, try to get after it a little bit more. Um, but yeah, it just felt like I didn't hit anything, and I think those are like the strikes that, really put people down. So yeah, that's what I was thinking at that time.
He obviously said what he said to you at the weigh-ins. What did you guys say to each other after the fight was over in the cage?
Oh, he was completely respectful. He came up and said respect, like good job. He was a little upset, not because like the stoppage or anything. I think he was just upset that he got caught. Um, but no, he, congratulated me and everything, and whatever was said at weigh-ins and, before, it just, completely out the window, and we were cool.
There were a lot of great fights, a lot of great performances on Saturday night. You get yourself another $50,000 bonus, this time individually for your performance and not for a crazy phone booth fight. But were you feeling confident the bonus was coming, or did you think by the end, like, I'm probably close, but it probably isn't going to happen for you, especially after what Valentina did?
Oh yeah. I mean, going into that fight card, I was like, man, my chances of getting a bonus are very slim. So, and I never think about the bonus anyway. I want to win. And, the fight before me was a pretty good finish. The kid got a knockout. Valentina, I think a heavyweight, Tafa, got a knockout. So, I was like, I wasn't really thinking about it. I didn't get my hopes up, I guess you could say. But, I was eating dinner with my family, and then my manager texted me and said that we got the bonus. So, that's just another one, I guess.
Would you say that was the most satisfying win of your career, considering the doubts people had, the things that were being said, etc.?
Absolutely. Yeah. The best win I had, and not because of what everyone else was saying. It's just the opponent, the his, credentials, his record, the type of fighter he is, and leading up to the fight, I've never really had, animosity between like a fighter. So, it's definitely, yeah, obviously the biggest one I've had.
Considering how the rest of the night went, how happy are you that that fight didn't go to the judges' scorecards?
Oh my God. I'm just, after my last fight, I just try to make it a point. Like, I got to finish people. I'm healthy now. After my last fight, I didn't come back to practice for like a week and a half, and I was limping everywhere. I couldn't throw kicks for about a month and a half without feeling any pain. So, hopefully I keep leaving the octagon healthy and fresh.
That was obviously quite the win for you. You're on the radar for sure, if you weren't already. And this division of yours is so loaded up with great potential matchups. Is there anybody that, I know you're not like typically a big call-out guy or anything, but is there anybody that sort of sticks out to you that makes sense to try to get into that top 15?
Mm, I haven't really looked at who's like as far as like the lineup. I'd have to take a look. But yeah, you're right. I'm not a big fan of calling people out. But all I know is just wherever it is, or whoever it is, I would like to fight in Vegas next. That's my home state. So, I mean, whoever it is, as long as they give me, 6 weeks to train, I really don't mind. Just as long, hopefully I earned my shot in Vegas. So hopefully they give that to me.
best case scenario, International Fight Week. That's, I think, after the March card. I think that's the next one in Vegas. So International Fight Week probably makes the most sense.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that'd be cool. I mean, hopefully I earned with my performances. Hopefully they, throw me on there just, for the fans and everything, give them another good performance. But yeah, that'd be ideal. International Fight Week, get some more attention on myself. So that'd be cool.
It is the big talking point of the week and of all of 2020 so far. So I might as well get your opinion on it. Thoughts on the main event? How did you score it?
Ooh, you know what? I give the edge to Jones. I kind of like people that go forward. I know he got hit quite a bit. I definitely think Dominic won, the first 2 rounds and maybe part of 3, but definitely the end. Jones was, had the pressure on him and everything. So I kind of gave the edge to Jones. It was a great fight, but I kind of gave the edge to Jones.
Yeah, it was. It's. This is probably the most interesting fight after the fact that I've probably ever heard of and talked about in my life because it's all over the map.
Yeah, and then especially with Jones, Jones rarely has controversial fights. So, and it was, my team, my coach, John Crouch thought Reyes won, but then Benson thought Jones won. So, if they're not seeing eye to eye, it was a pretty close fight.
Did you get to watch your former teammate Lauren Murphy fight Andrea Lee? Because that fight was bananas. That was like your last fight.
Yeah, I seen parts of it. I think she was like maybe a couple fights after me. So I was in the back doing interviews, and any little TV I could see, with them fighting, I would kind of watch. And then, the media lady kind of directed me everywhere, would say, Mario, we got to go. And have to go do some interviews. So I only seen parts of it, but, I'm glad for her victory and glad she won. She's a good person. So.
Did you go back and watch your fight after the fact yet?
Actually, I was just watching it before this interview right now. So, yeah, I was just watching it right now and taking a look at it.
How would you grade your performance overall? Like, obviously the finish was great, but going back and watching it, you sort of look at it in a different lens because you're not actually in the cage, and you fighters are the most self-critical people on the planet. So how do you look at it now?
I was looking at it. I think I should have been a little bit more engaging, I guess I should say. Trying to touch him a little bit more. But once you're actually in there and, someone's, trying to knock your head off, and someone like Miles with those small gloves, I kind of see it. But, watching it on TV, yeah, I wish I would have thrown a little bit more active in the first round, especially.
Congratulations, Mario. Incredible performance. Excited to see what is next for you. Hopefully you get on that International Fight Week card. Before we let you go, let the folks know where to find and follow you on the web, social media, any other shout outs, anything else you want to get off your chest. The floor is yours.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Mario_Bautista, MMA. And just want to thank, my team. I'm right here at the gym, the lab, Jason with Iridium Sports Agency, the UFC, everyone that's helped me, get to this point. So I want to thank them.
Oh, I wanted to ask you because Lauren actually brought this up, and I thought it was interesting. In terms of the current contract you're on, do you still have one fight left, or like how does that work?
No, I think my manager said that they're going to renew my contract.
Nice.
So they're going to be talking about it. I'm sure he'll get back to me, shortly. But yeah, after that performance, like they're going to renew it for me. So yeah. We'll see what's on there.
Well deserved, man. Thank you for the time, Mario. Enjoy the win and the extra cashola, my man.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it.